Okay, so then here's what he does, this sneaky little economist. He says, I wonder where they go after church. So he,
I sense a landmine. I have a feeling it makes members of the church look really, really good or super hypocritical, and we're just totally full of crap, right?
Or really bad. Liquor store attendants he also looks at. I love these guys. These guys, their blood is ice. They don't care what anybody thinks.
This is why Chuck Schumer said don't mess with the intelligence community, because they have 15 ways till Sunday to absolutely just screw you.
So that's great news for Latter-day Saints, bad news for Catholics, and bad news for everybody.
I'm spending money like I just got paid. $100 bills, tell them keep the change. Come on.
The more frequently some attends, the richer they are.
Yeah, this is a very robust data set.
Yeah, pop a bottle, about to make it rain. Let me give you something now to celebrate. Come on.
Tobacco store attendance, he can tell, is lowest among Latter-day Saints.
Wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good.
We're going to track their cell phones to see where they are on Sundays, if they actually attend, how long they attend for, and then we're going to track to see if they live up. Latter-day Saints have the least income variations. When atheists say, oh, all you religious people are hypocrites, they're actually wrong.
Got our scripture notes up and running. All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Word Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by Jonah Barnes, the Associate Professor of All Things Apocryphal, who's going to talk to us about this cell phone data that has been gleaned by an economist who found out who the churchiest people in America are using data from their smartphones. And let me guess, I haven't spoiled this for the audience, but by your smile, I have a feeling it makes members of the church look really, really good or super hypocritical, and we're just totally full of crap, right?
Or really bad.
Or just really bad. So which one is it? Are Mormons the churchiest people in America, or are they just totally full of crap? Jonah Barnes, go.
Well, this is how you find out. So up until now, the way that you tell if somebody's religious or their religious practices, you ask on the U.S., the U.S. General Religious Survey or Pew Research, you ask them, right?
Yeah, totally.
This economist, because economists are soulless machines.
Brutal.
My family's full of economists, so I can say that, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, I don't care what people say. I don't believe anything people say. We're going to track their cell phones to see where they are on Sundays, if they actually attend, how long they attend for, and then we're going to track to see if they live up to those covenants that they're making.
Did BYU commission this study to see if their students were actually going to church? Did the LDS church secretly bankroll this?
Dude, but you could. Check out what he finds. It's kind of freaky. This is kind of freaky. What you can tell by this. I think, how did he get this? Can you see this for me? It's kind of freaky. So, all right. So this comes from a guy, Devin G. Pope, who, excellent job, did this research study back in 2014. No, when was it? Oh, no, it was 2024. This is very recent.
Okay. April 2024. Yeah, this is just we're right on the heels of this. Yeah.
So it's called Religious Worship Attendance in America, Evidence from Cell Phone Data. So he tracks people's cell phones on their days of worship to see, are they actually living up to what they claim? And the findings are all over the place. They're super cool. He says that using the geo-data from a smartphone, over 2 million Americans, he's tracked them for years. He's been doing this a long time. So this total amount of data is enormous. Okay, so the things that you're going to see here are not like slipshod, well, maybe we looked at a dozen people. No, this is very solid, very good work.
Okay. Yeah.
So the first thing that you're seeing here is, of course, cell phone usage. So do people actually bring their phone? Okay, you got to know, am I tracking the right thing? So he does his due diligence and he says, are these people bringing their phones to church with them, to worship services? And this little chart here will tell you. Okay, so this is what he found. The dark blue means they always bring their phones. Okay, so the data he's gonna get from that is gonna be very reliable. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
As it moves lighter color, it means they don't really take it, so it's going to be a little iffier.
So I don't know if that's actually really cool because these people are technologically savvy and plugged in, or if I just know I don't know if it's bad that so many people have their phone at church, because I know some families that don't bring it, and I just think, that's a Chad worship move.
Yeah, kind of.
That's a Chad worship move.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like,
Okay.
oh, well, you got to make your data good, so you hope everybody brings their cell phone. And then I was like, do you hope everybody brings their cell phone?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I don't.
Yeah,
so
okay.
what's fascinating, the group that brings their cell phone to worship services more than any other group in America?
Millennials.
The Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints.
Oh,
we are
really?
the most phone-tied worship group in America.
Is it because they have so many great apps for like the scriptures? Oh, and there's circles now. Dude, the boomers approved social media, and they made their own social media, which, by the way, I had so much fun on Circles this week. I'm going to have to do an episode of this with Brittany, my wife. Like, I could totally tell some of the older people were figuring out social media because they started typing in saying, like, Janet, do you see that when I post a picture from my camera roll, it doesn't show up here? Or like, is anybody else having this problem? And like all of like the old people in my ward, and even some of the like Gen Xers that I thought were a lot more technologically savvy, like couldn't like figure this stuff out. And I was just like, oh, here it goes. They are not ready. They are not ready to be in a ward with Cardinellis and social media. And so I just said, well, let me check for my camera roll to see if any of my pictures post. And I started putting up nude art, like the birth of Venus. And I started putting up like the statue of David, but like zoomed in from like his like chest to his kneecaps. And then like the thinker, I got like a 3D rendering of the thinker. So I just started posting classical artwork that was like fully nude.
You are a terrorist. You are a terrorist.
And then you see him just like start to have a heart attack. Like, what? This is art. Like, this is beautiful. Like, this.
It's Michelangelo, guys. Come on.
Dude, yeah, seriously, man. Seriously.
You are a terrorist.
Yeah. So anyway,
so it turns out that we use cell phones more than any other worship group. Okay. So I'm thrilled. I've actually never been on Circles. I don't think I've ever been on Circles.
Really?
Is it? It's pretty legit. I don't know.
It's actually very basic and simple and really super effective. I kind of think had Circles come out pre-Facebook, it's like simple social media, and it works great. It works great.
That's really funny, though. Sending Michelangelo's dad.
Yeah, dude. I was literally trying to get a call from like my bishop, but he just won't do it. Like my bishop, like he does not take any
You know
bait.
what, Cardin? This is why we have wives. To stop us doing things like this. We're going to be like, give me that phone. Do not do this. Like, that's why we have wives.
Exactly, dude.
Okay, so anyways, the survey says that members of the Church of Jesus Christ are the most plugged in when they're in their worship services. The least most are Jews who do not bring their phones to religious worship services.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of interesting.
Wait a second. Isn't that because they have a thing about electronic devices on the Sabbath?
I think there's something in there because the paper says like obviously the Jews wouldn't.
Yeah, like because they shut down elevators in Jerusalem on Saturday, so they don't have to press the button.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they don't shut them down, but they automate them.
So that means that means that the data for the Jewish people surveyed is going to be a little less reliable, but a little bit. But he controls for all this. All right. So some of the findings. So he says the intensity of religious observance correlates with the host. Oh, well, no, we're not going to do that one yet. That one's just too fun.
Oh, okay. Well, hurry.
Okay. So it says, for example, so he says, firstly, 48% of people go to a religious worship service at least once during the year. Okay. Which is actually not that great if you think about it.
Yeah.
Now that correlates very well with the 46% of people who say that. So they say they go, and the cell phone data says, yeah, actually they do, once a year. So if you're thinking once a year, people are very accurate. But then it says, however, only 3% of Americans attend services weekly compared to 22% who said they did.
Whoa, wait. So 22% say I go weekly.
Yep.
But cell phone data shows only 3% actually go?
Yeah. Brutal.
Oh, that's savage.
Now, the way that he measures that, and I hope I get this right, Brother Devin, but the way that he measures that is he says if you go 77% of the time, so he takes like 40 some odd weeks, he sees, do you go 36 of those weeks? And so that correlates with 77% of the time. If you do, you're considered weekly. Because you can't be missing here and there or whatever. So he's like, that's pretty strict. It's like, you got to be going all the time.
Yeah.
So only 3% do, and 22% say they do. So when you're asking people, do you actually go to church? Most people, they think back and they're like, well, sure.
Well, 77% is a high bar. And is the cell phone data saying your chapel? Because, like, for example, a member in the High Council who oftentimes goes to different chapels on Sunday is indeed going to church every Sunday. But if the cell phone knows that, oh, well, his church building is 23968 Oakwood Boulevard, and he's only been to 23968 Oakwood Boulevard 40% of the Sundays, he's actually not going to church. Well, when in reality, he's gone to all the churches and he's probably the most active.
Wow. And you know what? I just thought, considering General Conference.
Yeah.
General Conference, no one's going to go, but we're still in our homes working.
Yeah, so General Conference, nobody's going to go. That's 2 Sundays. Christmas and Easter, you're oftentimes traveling, but members of our church will go to with other people.
Or other wards.
I don't know if I'm in my chapel 80% of the time, probably. But like that's really close to being 77%. I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
Interesting. So there could be.
Yeah.
But still, this is a very robust data set that he got.
Yes, totally.
So what he says is, the number of occasional versus frequent attenders varies substantially. So, for example, this is the first example he gives. There are approximately 14 times more Americans identifying as Catholics than Latter-day Saints, but more Latter-day Saints attend weekly than Catholics.
Oh.
So even though there are
really?
14 times more Catholics in the U.S., we are more active.
I thought they would dwarf us. Wait. So I want to make sure I got this information right. Okay, hold on. You're saying, if I understand you right, you're saying that just in raw data, the numbers of Latter-day Saints that go to church on Sunday is more than the number of Catholics that make it into the pews and attend church on Sunday, even though in just raw number of baptisms and people that self-declare as Catholic, even though there's 16 times the amount of Catholics.
14 times, yep.
Or 14 times the amount of Catholics. More members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, aka Mormons, go to church than Catholics do?
Yep. So on any given Sunday, if you were to look over all the pews, you'd see more Latter-day Saints in church than you would Catholics in church in America, despite the fact that they dwarf us in raw numbers, 14-1. So,
that is brutal.
It's brutal. That's brutal. So that's great news for Latter-day Saints, bad news for Catholics, and bad news for everybody.
Okay,
because
now,
we want more Catholics at church.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but I am looking ahead a little bit here, and it said he doesn't want to go through the graphs, but for Muslims, Buddhists, and Latter-day Saints, the more frequently some attends, the richer they are.
Yeah.
For all other religions, the most frequent attenders are poorer. Kind of interesting. Okay, so shed some light on that. What's going on there?
So fascinating. Okay, so generally speaking, and this is a trope that atheists feed into a lot, is that if you go to church, you tend to be poorer. So poorer people go to church more. The more affluent you get, the less you attend. That's kind of been, and what do they call that? They call that the what is it? The wallet barrier or something, where as popular. Oh, I know. That's wallet contraception. I'm thinking of wallet apostasy or something.
One of my buddies was a very wealthy Frenchman that got baptized, and like 3 out of 4 of his friends said, like, wait, why are you going to church? Like,
right.
You have money.
Right. Right. And you see this across cultures. You see this across developing nations, across the Western world. The wealthier people get, the less they attend, right? And so what he's saying is that, yes, that holds true, except for Muslims, Buddhists, and Latter-day Saints. Now, there's one group in this group of 3 that stands out, and that's Latter-day Saints are not immigrants. Most Muslims and Buddhists or a much higher percentage that he's looking at in his data are recent immigrants or immigrants. And that could correlate with greater economic mobility, that they managed to make it to America. And so they're already a little more well off, and then they are attending services. Whereas Latter-day Saints, that's not the case. We've been here for.
Oh, this is awesome. Okay, keep going, dude.
This
is so cool.
It's so cool. Okay, so then he says, also in this similar vein, these guys are economists. I love these guys. He says, Muslims have twice as much income variation between randomly selected co-congregants as Latter-day Saints. So if you look at a congregation of Muslims, you're going to see a ton of income variation, some very poor and some very wealthy.
Well, because if you have a Syrian immigrant who just barely escaped civil war,
right,
with like some third generation
prince of
Persian
whatever,
guy
yep.
whose dad started the print shop in 1979 and is a millionaire, it's going to be, the stats will be brutal,
right? Whereas, and compared to Latter-day Saints, have the least income variation. So in Latter-day Saint pews, people are the closest in terms of income. Now,
well, that's also because we're divided by geography.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you're not going to, so that makes sense. You're going to have a suburban ward and people are all kind of similar socioeconomic status. You're going to have an inner city ward, kind of similar socioeconomic status. So we don't have huge variation in socioeconomic status. However, I should say, that's not very good. We need more poor people in our churches. We need to get them in. We need to get them in there. So anyways, so those are some of his findings.
Go to New York or Los Angeles, bro.
I bet you're right, actually.
That's why I say you don't have a problem talking.
Okay, so then here's what he does, this sneaky little economist. He says, I wonder where they go after church. So he yeah.
I sense a landmine.
That's so good.
Okay.
So he tracks and he says, okay, so you say you don't smoke and you don't drink. Let's test that. So he says tobacco store attendance, he can tell, is lowest among Latter-day Saints and highest among Jehovah's Witnesses and Buddhists. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So J-Dubs hit the cigar shop. But hold on. That's not outlawed in their religion though, right?
I thought it was. Oh, maybe drinking.
No, you're allowed to drink. In fact, I had a friend who was a J-Dub convert that kind of complained about some there's some kind of rubber clause in there for that, and I don't want to speak for the religion as a whole, but it's
the Google tells
you're
me
not allowed to be like drunken, I think is how she explained it to me. You're allowed to drink, but you're not allowed to drink to the point of drunkenness, which is unbiblical in their eyes. But who's the person that's going to dictate what that is?
Well, this says here from the National Institute of Health that Jehovah's Witnesses believe God does not approve of unhealthy and unclean habits like smoking or drug use. Jehovah's Witnesses do not smoke or use any other tobacco products. So this is part of their religion.
Oh, no, really?
And they have the highest tobacco store attendance.
No, and they're going after church.
According to the cell phone data. Brutal.
Oh, no.
Brutal.
J-Dubs, brother. You're like Kwaku's second favorite. You can't be doing that, man.
Brutal. Now, liquor store attendance he also looks at. I love these guys. These guys, their blood is ice. They don't care what anybody thinks.
This is why Chuck Schumer said don't mess with the intelligence community, because they have 15 ways till Sunday to absolutely just screw you. And like, so how many people are hitting the bar after church?
Okay, so liquor store attendance, lowest among Latter-day Saints, highest among Jews. Actually, the highest for hitting the liquor store.
Is that because there's so many secular Jews that just kind of go to synagogue with their parents?
Could be. I don't think they have they don't have the prohibitions that we do, so that's not hypocrisy. That's just, they want to go have a good time, I guess, right? It's actually part of their liturgy if you think about it. But
booze?
Oh, wine.
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
yeah, hey,
awesome.
I support that.
Not malt liquor. Nice. Okay, cool.
Okay, so this right here is a comparison between the cell phone data and what they self-report. So if you look at the self-reporting goes left to right, the cell phone data goes top to bottom. Okay. So according to both, the most religious people, the churchiest people in America the churchiest state in America is Utah.
Wow, Utah. Look at that.
Yep. They report that they're religious and the cell phone data bears that out.
Dude, you know what? Utah gets ragged on a lot, but that stat right there literally proves the peculiar people self-slogan that they got going on in Utah
is earned
and shows that wrong button and shows that these people are actually putting their money where their mouth is, and freaking good on them, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Look at that. I'm going to pull this one up just by itself.
Yeah, dude.
So people can see that just a little bit bigger. There Utah is top right Just
Beating everybody.
loud and proud, beating everybody. That's awesome.
Yeah. And what this graph also shows is that the cell phone data generally does track with the religion census. So it isn't completely crazy. There's some funny hypocrisies that he's found, but generally it's reliable. People are, for the most part, telling the truth. Not completely, but for the most part. So yeah, Utah ranks tip of the top for they report they're religious and they're following through with it. Let's see. Other cool findings. So there's one bar graph here that shows weekly attenders over 77%. Okay. The most attentive people are Latter-day Saints. So this is,
dude, by a margin.
by a huge, we are twice as churchy as Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wow. And I thought they were the most zealous, dude.
Yeah. Twice
That's
as
crazy.
attendee. I'm not sure what you call this, but this is, so he tracked over 40 some odd weeks. And if you went over 77% of the time, I mean, you can't miss a lot. That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
He says Latter-day Saints beat everybody. Now the 2%, 14%, you have to take out there a lot of noise. People who say that they're Latter-day Saints, but they're inactive or whatever. So the numbers are all trending super low. The point is that Latter-day Saints are twice as attendizing, I don't know what you say, twice as nerdy as church attendant.
Nerdy, geeky, church geek,
Church
Jesus
geek.
freak.
Twice as much as Jehovah's Witnesses and Protestants, which are second place. We're twice as much as the second place group. And then from there it goes down to Orthodox, Muslims, Catholics, and so on and so on. So we are nerds. Okay, we are nerdy people.
That is, well, you know what? Honestly, freaking good on it. I have so much respect for anybody that puts their money where their mouth is.
Lives it.
And just lives it. I don't care what freaking faith you are. If you're actually just out doing it, I'm like, I got respect for you.
And this is the great takeaway from this data. The great takeaway from this isn't tee-hee-hee, look how churchy we are. The takeaway from this is a tragedy. We want all Jehovah's Witnesses going to their services.
Yeah.
You and me, we want all Muslims going to mosque. We want all Jews going to their synagogues.
All
faith is
with
good
a couple
faith.
of reforms and a couple of these faiths. But no, I'm just kidding.
Jacob Hansen right now is like, what? Muslims? What? No, but we want everybody to believe in something bigger than themselves. When you stop believing in something bigger than yourself, you start believing in anything.
That's 100. That's always been my ethos, is that, dude, first things first, you got to shed the arrogance of man. Yeah. You got to shed the self-worship and just believe in something else.
Yeah. Now that's all well and good, but this last stat is super worrying. It's the one you've got up here. Okay. It says the religions with the longest average visit duration, Orthodox Christians go for 116 minutes a week. Latter-day Saints, 115 minutes a week. This is worrying, people. This is out of hand. Why are we going for so darn long? I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Or let's just go for 2 minutes longer and at least beat out.
Yeah.
Like at least get the number one spot, you know?
This all ecumenical stuff. Let's bury these guys. You know, come on.
Oh, dude, this is way
add on
too
5
funny.
more minutes and we'll rule the place. So
Yeah,
the religions with the shortest visit duration include Muslims with 51 minutes. Now, I'm not sure that that's super fair because Muslims, I think, might go more than once.
Well, also these people are praying to Mecca,
and they're
5 or 6
praying all the
times a
time.
day. Yeah, exactly.
Boy, we could take some of that Muslim piety. I wish the West would learn a little piety from the Muslims.
Yeah.
And then Catholics 66 minutes, Buddhists 71 minutes, Jews go 92 minutes, and Protestants 102 minutes. Or kind of in the middle, but the nerdiest, churchiest people who attend the most are Latter-day Saints, and who attend the longest are almost Latter-day Saints. So
Dude,
we are
awesome.
hopelessly churchy, active people, according to data. This is not self-reported stuff. This is actual data, cell phone data, tracking people's phones, and you can tell. Also, the more religious you are in general, the less you attend casinos, liquor stores, and strip clubs. Okay? So the more religious you are, the less you go around those things. So, I
can see the casino things. You don't want to lose your money.
So it makes sense. And
Liquor
you hear
stores,
these-
you don't want to beat your wife. But strip clubs, come on, man. You just got to take the edge off. You know what I'm saying? Just take the edge off. Oh, and they forgot dispensaries, bro. Just want to settle down a little bit at the end of the day.
Sure.
That's the millennial wine.
Sin
It's the
a
millennial
little.
wine glass, bro.
Yeah, albeit if there's a few stripes. So the So the idea is that when atheists say, "Oh, all you religious people are hypocrites," they're actually wrong. They're actually wrong.
Oh, that's true.
When they say, "Oh, you're all hiding stuff. You're all better." He clandestinely tracked cell phone data and found that when Latter-day Saints say they don't smoke and they don't drink, they really don't. When religious people say they don't go to casinos and strip clubs, they really don't.
And
actually.
so now all of the everybody that's always trying to say that, like, oh, well, I just try and follow the science, and I don't want to say data over dogma because I know there's technically a podcast called Data Over Dogma, but all of like the data over dogma people that try and act like, science tells what's really true. Meanwhile, you guys just tell a story that you're hypocritical about. Right. And like, I choose not to go to church because I don't want to be a hypocrite. You're actually saying that cell phone data proves that if you do go to church, there's a better chance that you aren't a hypocrite and you actually do follow.
Yep.
Oh, man.
That you're doing the things you're saying you're doing. And he's managed to prove it, to show it with geodata.
So how did this cat, Devin G. Pope, you said his name is?
Yeah.
How did this cat figure this out on his own dime? Yeah. Using cell phone data
kind of a stud
to smash some serious anti-Mormon tropes, some anti-religious tropes.
Yeah.
How did he do this alone with cell phone data? And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which literally pays out the nose all the time to get all kinds of silly surveys and data gleaned and so on and so forth. How could they not figure this out? But Devin G. Pope does.
Well, but if the church did it, everyone would be like, well, that's not, you're all biased. It shows Latter-day Saints don't go to the tobacco store. No one would believe it. This is a cold-blooded economist. He would burn his grandmother if he ran out of firewood. This guy's ice runs through his veins. These people, they only care about data. I've got them in my family, okay? They have when it comes to all of their soul switches off, and they're just interested in what the data says, and this dude's one of them, and his data bears out. You want these guys doing your research, and he did a fantastic job. Devin G. Pope, if you're out there, excellent work, brother. We hope you go far. This is very, very cool.
All right. Well, guys, let us know what you guys think in the comments section of this episode. Do you think this is a bunch of hogwash? Does this not jive with your personal experience? Or are you feeling like this is spot on? And Devin Pope, wherever you are, I know somebody's going to forward you a link to this episode. Reach out. We want to sit you down in that chair right over there and have a conversation. So please, guys, if you haven't yet, please make sure that you guys like this video. Please make sure you share this with your friends. And as always, for this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. We hope you liked it, so please share with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to support us, please consider purchasing a copy of The Key to the Keystone, Jonah Barnes' latest book. It's available to Ward Radio listeners only for the first 2 weeks of pre-sale via the links in the description below, okay? You can always go to plainandpreciouspublishing.com and get your own copy of the book, or you can actually go to the kind of launch event that we're cooking up here. All the guys from Stick of Joseph, Quick Media, Jacob Hansen, many of us here at Ward Radio, we're actually going to have a launch event for this book in Utah that you can buy tickets for as well. And your ticket's going to be the book. So you get a book as your ticket coming in. It's actually going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to support the channel and you can't help us out with Zelle or with Venmo or with the Cash App, please consider purchasing your own copy of The Key to the Keystone by Jonah Barnes so you can be up on all the latest super cool associate professor of all things apocryphal happenings. Remember, the first 2 weeks only, Ward Radio listeners get a unique link and unique access to the purchase of the pre-sale of this book. So make sure you check it out in the links in the description below. And as always, for this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com.